Hello, everyone out there. Thank you so much for tuning in. I just have a brief message to share with you all tonight, just something to help us reflect and maybe draw closer to each other during this time of division. I've I think I can officially say I've seen it all. Well, maybe not all of it, but I've seen more than I ever wanted to. I used to think Christians merely divided over doctrinal issues, and that points of preference really wouldn't divide a body of believers. I mean, I had heard horror stories of how people would leave churches because of pews versus chairs, the color of the carpet. And yes, even some dishes served at potlucks could cause interchurch strife. And I used to think that they were just these outlandish claims that would cause people to leave attending one body or another. I had no idea that they were real. That people would draw these lines in the sand, uh, mainly centered upon pride and preference, and not on anything substantial at all. But now I am seeing something firsthand that I never thought I would see: divisions over mask. And I'm not here to say either way, one way or the other, one is right, one is wrong. But if you're letting mask or politics divide you, I'm going to read to you the words of Paul from 1 Corinthians chapter 3. And here's what it says: Dear brothers and sisters, when I was with you, I couldn't talk to you as I would spiritual people. I had to talk as though you belonged to the world or as though you were infants in the Christian life. I had to feed you with milk, not with solid food, because you weren't ready for anything stronger. And you still aren't ready, for you are still controlled by your sinful nature. You are jealous of one another and quarrel with each other. Doesn't that prove that you're controlled by your sinful nature? Aren't you living like people of the world? When one of you says, I am a follower of Paul, or another says, I follow Apollos, aren't you acting just like people of the world? Don't you realize that all of you together are the temple of God, and that the Spirit of God lives in you? God will destroy anyone who destroys the temple, for God's temple is holy, and you are that temple. Stop deceiving yourselves. If you think you are wise by the world's standards, you need to become a fool to become truly wise. Whether Paul or Apollos or Peter or the world or life or death or the present and the future, everything belongs to you, and you belong to Christ, and Christ belongs to God. So if you're doing something right now in your Christian walk because you believe you are right, and your ideal is to prove yourself right among your brothers, I want you to reflect on the words that Paul just wrote. Being wise by the world's standards, we should become foolish. That means uplifting others instead of our own agenda, our own interest. And if you think that being right is more important than maintaining fellowship, you are thus destroying God's temple. Take Paul's advice and stop deceiving yourselves. We belong to Christ, and Christ belongs to God. And therefore, we all belong to God. There should be nothing that separates us when we have that reality spelled out for us. These are just my 2 cents. And I think you can make these dividing factors on anything. And I never thought I would be in a position to sit back and recognize what is happening simply because of preference. Grick did a great talk on Tuesday, and I'm thankful that he did, because what we should all be displaying right now is elements of grace. And if this is something that seems foreign to you, please reread the works of Paul. Please reread the works of Peter and James, John, and study the life of Christ. Because I'm going to guarantee that you're going to see a different message than wanting to be right. And you're going to see a different message than wanting to prove yourself virtuous over another individual. For he who is meek and lowly is the one that says, the first shall be last, and the last shall be first. Thank you, and God bless.